We will now begin the City of Boynton Beach City Commissioners meeting calling back from recess. Would everyone please stand for the invocation led by Vice Mayor Christina Romulus, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear God, thank you for allowing us to come together this evening. Thank you for allowing us to do the business of the city. Lord, we come before you with humble hearts, and we thank you for life today. We thank you for this new year, for this new opportunity to do things better, to make our city better, to make our communities better. We also thank you for the lives that are able to continue even after a devastating loss. We want to take a moment to just reflect on the events that occurred in the country of Haiti in the 12th of January 2010, when nearly 500,000 lives were lost and millions more were affected throughout the world. We give you honor because we know that everything is in your hands. We ask you to heal and comfort and continue to guide those that have lived and endured during that time. We ask you to just bless them and guide them and provide for them and their families. We ask you to take this meeting and let it be under your control this evening, and let all of our decisions be for the betterment of our city and for our community. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We have already done the roll call. We're moving on to agenda approval, additions, deletions, or corrections. Yes, Commissioner Katz.
Yeah, I was going to ask the board to add an item to new items and table a previous item that I requested to be put on here. It's under legal, the tabling of the item. C, discussion of anti-lobbying ordinance application with city board members. I have a couple more questions that I want to get answered before I bring that publicly. And what I'd like to place in its place today is a general discussion regarding some ethics concerns within the city that I feel are time sensitive, and I would appreciate the ability to discuss tonight.
Okay. Is that okay with the rest of the board?
Sure.
Yes.
And then, Commissioner Katz, how long do you want this to be tabled?
No date certain.
You want to do it before the first meeting in March?
Sure.
Okay. All right. I'd like to add an announcement regarding the Friends of the Library Adult Reading Club. And as on our agenda, we'll do the tabling of items 8A and B to February 5th, and items 8E and F to March 19th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right. All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Agenda is approved unanimously. Moving on to informational items by members of the City Commission. City Commissioner Katz, would you like to begin?
No disclosures at this time.
All right. Commissioner
Actually, let me back up on that. Regarding the item that will be postponing on the agenda, the development item, I spoke to residents and leadership of Silver Lake, leadership of the Village Golf, and Bradley Miller, many parties associated with that project.
Okay. Commissioner McCray.
Thank you, sir. First of all, I'd like to say to everyone, Happy New Year. Disclosure was I spoke with Bradley Miller in regards to the information that was tabled, the item. I went to the MLK celebration, and I know you all only saw me there for like about 15 or 20 minutes. I had to work Saturday, and I had 4 funerals. I was exhausted from the accident. And that morning I got to walk my dogs, which I did not put the leash on, and Grace got away, and I ran after her, and I thought I was playing football. I fell, got skin up, so I'm still falling. But anyway, that goes with age. Also, I did the award ceremony for the PD department today. And I'd like to say, since I see some people this afternoon from our Public Works, I'd just like to say to you all, thank you. This morning I went down MLK Boulevard on the northwest section, and I thought that I was in a new place. Thank you for cleaning it up. It was noticed. I appreciate it. although I'm sitting up here tonight a little hurt, body-wise, I have not lost my sense of humor. I went to the doctor yesterday, and he asked me a dumb question. I thought he asked me, how did I sleep? And I told him in a bed, so he started laughing. So I still got my sense of humor. Thank you. That's it, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Vice Mayor?
How am I supposed to follow that? Thank you. First and foremost, let me say Happy New Year to everyone. I know it's been a while since we've seen each other, so Happy New Year. Welcome back. I wish you all a great and prosperous and filled with love New Year for 2019. I also did meet with Bradley Miller and had plans to meet with the Village of Gulf regarding the item down in District 1, but that meeting was canceled due to the postponement of the item. Some things I did today, which I'm very proud to say. First of all, I spoke to a group of employees and veterans at the Veterans Medical Center up in Riviera Beach. This was an honor and a privilege for me to be able to just share my thoughts on leadership and service, and also to just reflect and pay homage to the legacy that Dr. Martin Luther King has left behind for us and to us. And really the crux of my message to the individuals in the audience was, we've come this far, and what's next? So I hope we all can take that message in our own lives and use that to motivate us to become better people and better individuals in our environment, in our society. I also was able to attend the Boynton Beach PD quarterly award ceremony. I want to thank every single person who puts on that uniform each and every day. I want to commend and congratulate all the individuals that were awarded medals and distinguished just honors for their duty, and those who are sworn and both just civilians. So thank you all for your duty, and thank you for keeping Boynton Beach safe each and every single day. Appreciate you.
Mayor Kelly?
I as well met with Bradley Miller on the Country Trail project that has been postponed. This past Saturday, I attended the Martin Luther King event. I want to thank the city for putting on a great event and the residents for coming. It was a lot of fun. The rain held off, and I think everyone seemed to have a good time. The program was great. The entertainment was really good from all the local schools, so it was a fun event.
Excellent. On December 19th, I went to visit with the American Red Cross in Palm Beach County. Learned about that great organization, how they're the ones there after someone's house burns down. They're the first one there to make sure that they have a place to stay. And look forward to working with them regarding smoke detectors in Palm Beach County to make sure that all of our elderly and low-income housing has the smoke detectors. I attended a Christmas party with the Women's Circle over at St. Mark's on December 20th. I want to wish everyone also a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year if I wasn't able to see you. And on this January 6th, I attended the Sunday cleanup with Boynton Cares. Myself, my wife, and Vice Mayor went to the Novus escape room, and with 2 minutes left, we escaped.
Yes.
So it was a lot of fun.
Good news for Commissioner McCray.
It is possible.
And we were here. It was a lot of fun. Very happy to have these types of entertainment in the city of Boynton Beach. On the January 10th, I met with Bradley Miller regarding the item that is tabled today, and then went to the grand reopening of the Hampton Inn off of Gateway. Hilton redid all of the rooms. It's an amazing place to stay. They have the suites available, and so I'm very happy to see that, if someone wants to stay in Boynton Beach at a hotel, they can stay longer than just 3 days. It seems very comfortable there. They offer free breakfast, and I want to thank them again for having that opening. On the 11th, I attended Congress Middle School and met with the principal and the school resource officers to help with the crisis plan in case of a tragedy. On the 12th, I attended the Color of Hope event over in Oakland Park with Mayor Mac Bernard in remembrance of the earthquake that happened in Haiti. And my goal was for better infrastructure. I was there for the MLK celebration. I'd like to thank all the city staff that was there, all of our Galaxy Elementary School, Congress Middle School's dance team, and the Tiger Sound Band. The Valerie Tyson Band was also amazing to close it out. Thank you, Mary, to get them. And I think, that's something that we can build upon. And, it's tough because, we get our calendars this year and they don't show it. But hopefully we can do a better promotion during our holiday parade and boat parade about that event to really get a lot more people there. I also attended a town hall in Leisureville. On the 13th, I attended a Teach Florida legislative session and was at the Breast Key Bash over in Meisner Park, where myself and Commissioner Weinroth, with other mayors, community leaders, and attorneys, joined the chorus line to help promote awareness for elderly abuse and domestic violence abuse, that there are resources available through Palm Beach County Legal Aid, where Boynton Beach gives money through our community development block grants to make sure that anybody who needs to speak to a lawyer has access to a lawyer. Yesterday I attended Congress Middle School again for their stakeholders meeting, and today was at the Village Royale on the Green. I want to thank them for hosting our quarterly awards. And the last announcement that I have is, staff board. I remember last October I had a meeting with the principals for the elementary school, and we are starting to have progress with that. And pursuant to what Commissioner Katz did regarding his promise to put $1,000 in for the city to make sure that everyone has access to camps and after-school programs, I also have a $1,000 check to the city of Boynton Beach, and I'll be handing that to Tim after the meeting. And that is all the announcements from me. Yes,
Mayor,
Commissioner McCray.
Thank you. In regards to the escape room, I'm glad that you all made it out. The next morning on TV, that was a thing that went across and it said, escape rooms, are they fire hazards? And I'm saying, huh? I thought about you all, but they said that that's a way they can let you all out if you got trapped, so you'd have got out. I just want to let you know, be assured.
Correct. I spoke with our fire marshal, Kathy Klein, and so she said she couldn't do them because she knows all the way out. Okay. And the door's not locked, so in case you need to use the bathroom or make a phone call. Okay. And yes, it is compliant with all of our fire safety standards. And then for a future agenda item, if you don't mind me doing it now, I'd like to have the city consider a veteran task force. We dissolved our veteran advisory board back in 2016, and I don't think we need to have another advisory board because of the way Veterans Parks is associated, but I think we need to have that task force with the local veterans service organizations and community leaders with city staff so that we have certain protocols in place. Tom Kaiser has done an amazing job, but he could use some help, and also to make sure that our veterans can have enough sponsors as well, because I know Mission Barbecue has done a lot for the veterans, and we'd like to make sure that everybody's on the same page regarding our 6 events that we have each year.
I'd like to offer a motion that we amend the agenda, add in our future agenda items H, Veterans Task Force.
Second that.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. All right. Any further informational items by the Commission? Seeing none. Moving on to the announcements, community and special events and presentations. And we are here to welcome our new Palm Beach County Commissioner, Robert Weinroth, for District 4.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the Commission. Thank you very much for inviting me tonight. First, I want to tell you this is a real nice calendar. It was handed to me on the way in here tonight, and I certainly am very impressed by the number of superheroes that you have living in your community. It's terrific. I want to tell you, your mayor does a great box step. We were both together this weekend over at Meisner Park Amphitheater, and like he was saying, it was a real opportunity for us to help legal aid, and it's nice to see your mayor coming on down to South County, and we certainly welcomed you. The purpose of today's visit really is just to say hello. I know many of you from my past life as a commissioner, as a member of the City Council in Boca Raton, where I spent 4 years. And of course, your mayor and I served together on the TPA until I left in April. I'm back on again. I wanted you to know, while I am in District 4, and of course this is partially District 4 you share with a couple of other commissioners, the fact is that I understand home rule, and we all know that you'd probably prefer not seeing too much of me except when there's a problem. So I will not be in your face unless you tell me that you need me. The same thing as far as we're looking to the state to stay out of our business. I'm sure that you want to make sure that the county lets you do your own thing as far as your development and whatever else is going on down here in Boynton Beach. I did want to tell you that on the county level, a couple of the items that we're working on right now with Ernest is homeless housing and also dealing with impact fees. Impact fees have been a difficult issue to deal with because we're trying to balance the need for revenue against not wanting to dampen the ability of people to either bring their businesses to South Florida or to dampen the ability of developers to bring workforce housing in. So it's a delicate balance. Obviously, the money can't come from just heaven, and we're certainly happy that Amendment 1 didn't pass. It's giving a lot of the municipalities in the county a little more money than we'd expected when we walked into the elections on November 6th. That being said, there's still a lot of priorities out there, and we're going to work together with the municipalities to make sure that we are handling this thing appropriately. I really don't have an agenda for being here. It was really just a matter of coming out and saying hello and letting you know I'm there. I'm going to leave a handful of my business cards behind, and certainly feel free to reach out to me at my office. I have 2 offices, of course, one in Delray and one up at West Palm Beach. One of my aides is here tonight, John Carter over here, and I have 2 other aides. Lucia has stayed on from when Stephen was there, and I have another aide. Her name is Alexandria, and Alexandria will generally be in the Delray office. Again, it's my pleasure to work with you. If you need anything, please reach out. Thank you. Yes, Vice Mayor.
I just want to congratulate you, first of all, on your election to serve in the County Commission. And I also do want to say that you intersect in my district, in District 3, and Stephen and I had a good relationship in terms of making sure we served the residents that overlapped in those 2 districts, and I hope that we can also build that same relationship to serve our residents along the intercoastal, because that's where our districts overlap. So
Absolutely.
Looking forward to working with you.
I am a county commissioner. I'm not a district commissioner, so anything that you need, feel free to reach out.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much again.
Next, we have City Hall will be closed on Monday, January 21st, 2019 for observance of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And now we have the proclamation for Monday, January 21st, 2019 as Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Whereas Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. devoted his life to advancing equality, social justice, and opportunity for all, and challenged all Americans to participate in the never-ending work of building a more perfect union. And Dr. King's teaching can continue to guide and inspire us in addressing challenges in our communities. And whereas the King Holiday and Service Act, enacted in 1994, designated the King Holiday as a National Day of Volunteer Service and charged the Corporation for National and Community Service with leading this effort. And since 1994, millions of Americans have been inspired by the life and work of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to serve their neighbors and communities on this King Holiday. And whereas serving on the King Holiday is an appropriate way to honor Dr. King, meet local and national needs, bring our citizens together, and strengthen our communities and nations. And the King Day of Service is the only federal holiday commemorated as a National Day of Service, and offers an opportunity for Americans to give back to their communities on the holiday and make an ongoing commitment to service throughout the year. And whereas each of us can and must contribute to making our communities better with increased opportunities for all our citizens and to celebrate the King Day of Service, January 21st, 2019. Now, therefore, I, Stephen B. Grant, Mayor of the City of Boynton Beach, Florida, do hereby proclaim the 21st of January, 2019 as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Do we have someone who would like to accept the proclamation? Sure.
Hi, how are you doing today? I accept this proclamation in honor of Dr. King. He was very instrumental in my life. I actually have a bust of him in my house. I went to Atlanta on a school tour with my students to visit the universities that are there, Spelman, Morehouse, Clark Atlanta at the time in 2003. And it is a sight to behold because it's very sacred, and you see that a man's purpose, when they live it to the fullest extent, what they intend always moves on as a legacy. And so I honor him today, and I accept this proclamation because I use my life to honor those that are around me, even though I may not be here for that long. So I applaud Dr. King for what he did because it meant a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, proclaim the week of January 20th, 2019 as Boynton Beach School Choice Week. We have representatives from South Tech Schools to accept the proclamation. Whereas all children in Boynton Beach should have access to the highest quality education possible. And whereas Boynton Beach recognizes the important role that an effective education plays in preparing all students in Boynton Beach to be successful adults. And whereas quality education is critically important to the economic vitality of Boynton Beach. And whereas Boynton Beach is home to a multitude of high-quality public and non-public schools from which parents can choose for their children, in addition to families who educate their children in the home. And whereas educational variety not only helps to diversify our economy, but also enhances the vibrancy of our community. And whereas Boynton Beach has many high-quality teaching professionals in all types of school settings who are committed to educating our children. And whereas School Choice Week is celebrated across the country by millions of students, parents, educators, schools, and organizations to raise awareness of the need for effective educational options. Now, therefore, I, Stephen B. Grant, Mayor of the City of Boynton Beach, Florida, do hereby proclaim the week of January 20th, 2019 as Boynton Beach School Choice Week.
Thank you, Mayor Grant. Good evening. Good evening. My name is Stephen Kozak. I'm the Director of Business and Community Partnerships at South Tech Schools. Jim Kidd, Superintendent, regrets that he can't be with us tonight, but he did want me to share some sentiment. We are incredibly proud at South Tech Schools to offer the young men and women of Boynton Beach a quality public education, and we are incredibly proud to graduate our students ready for work, ready for higher education, and ready for productive citizenship here in our community. Further, we're incredibly proud to live in a democracy where our parents and children have a choice where to send their children for education to become this productive citizen. Thank you again, Mayor Grant. Thank you, Vice Mayor Romulus. Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you so much for recognizing South Tech Schools as being the great school system that it is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor.
Yes.
You know, I can't help but to throw in my 2 cents when it comes to South Tech.
Yes.
I am a proud graduate of South Tech, and I thank you all for the work that you continue to do and the proud legacy that you are forming in so many different lives. So thank you, and please continue the good work.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
I don't know if Ike Powell is here or someone from Palm Beach County Youth Services. Nope. Anyway, we have our next proclamation for Mentoring Awareness Month. Proclamation. Whereas there are few investments more important than those we make in the healthy development and well-being of young people. And whereas research shows that young people matched with a caring adult through a quality mentoring program are 52% less likely to skip school, 46% less likely to use illegal drugs, 37% less likely to skip class, 33% less likely to hit someone, and 27% less likely to start drinking. And whereas mentors serve as essential sources of inspiration, lifting children and youth up and positioning them for success in their futures. And whereas mentoring is a priority identified in the Youth Master Plan. And whereas United Way serves as the anchor of the Palm Beach County Mentor Network, a professional affiliation of 39 formal mentoring programs with approximately 4,500 children assigned to mentors, working together to elevate mentoring throughout the community. And whereas the City of Boynton Beach supports the organized mentoring initiatives and encourages participation in mentoring programs. Now therefore, I, Stephen B. Grant, Mayor of the City of Boynton Beach, Florida, do hereby proclaim the month of January 2019 as Mentoring Awareness Month. And next, we'll move on with the announcement by Parks and Recreational Director Wally Majors.
Good evening, Mayor. Wally Majors, Recreation and Parks Director. I'm proud and very excited to announce the upcoming 4th annual Magic Wheels and Special Deals event and our 7th annual barrier-free 5K. And to join me in making the announcements tonight, I'm joined by Stephanie Soplop, who's a member of our staff and on our planning team for the Magic Wheels event, and Donnell Boynton, representing the Realtors Association of the Palm Beaches, who have been with us since the inception of the 5K, and we're very excited that they once again are going to join us this year. So I'm going to turn it over to Stephanie first, and then Donnell.
Thank you, Wally. My name is Stephanie Soplop. I am the Recreation Assessment Specialist. As Wally said, we have a 5K event to raise money to expand our Park Congress Avenue barrier-free park, which is fully accessible for people with disabilities or without disabilities. And we also choose an honorary starter each year for the 5K. This year we chose Nathan Robles. He was born with a lot of health problems, and his mother was told he would not make it past 10 days of life. Well, he just turned 9 years old, and he is in a wheelchair, and what we do for the honorary starter, it's a child in a wheelchair, and we have a magic wheelchair made for him. So it's customized to make him look really cool, riding around in his magic wheelchair. He gets to take it home after the 5K and use it in his neighborhood. So the event is Friday, February 8th. In addition to being able to see the unveiling of the magic wheelchair, we also invite vendors. We have Sensibility Candles, the Chocolate Spectrum, Foodies for Autism, Artists with Autism. So we invite a lot of vendors that are consisted of people with disabilities who make and sell items. They get to practice socializing, learning how to sell things. They make money from the sales. We also have agencies that support people with disabilities. We have the ARC, Palm Beach County Therapeutic Recreation. So it's a fun evening. It's Friday, February 8th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. We hope everybody comes. It's free. We also have a face painter, and we also have a sign language interpreter as well. So it's open to everyone. It's a really fun, joyful evening. So you don't want to miss it. Again, it's Friday, February 8th at Barrier Free Park from 6 to 7:30 p.m.
Good evening, thank you. My name is Danielle Boughton, and I'm here to represent the Realtors of the Palm Beaches and Greater Fort Lauderdale. And this is our 7th annual Barrier Free 5K. We're really excited to be continuing to promote this event and work with the City of Boynton Beach, as we have a long relationship with the city, and we're always happy to work closely with you. And Wally and the city have been absolutely wonderful. The Barrier Free 5K is going to be on Saturday, February 9th at 7:30 in the morning. It is a walk, run, or roll. So the race obviously is to help to benefit the Congress Avenue Barrier-Free Park, which is a wonderful park built to accommodate people of all abilities. So our race is as well. So you can walk it, you can run it, you can make it through however you may need to. So we'll have hopefully a couple hundred participants at the race, and we hope to continue to be able to raise money for the park so that it can continue to expand. I think to date we've raised about $4,000 for the park, and we're really excited to continue that. So there's postcards by the door, and we hope that everybody can join us at the race. Thank you.
I have a question. Excuse me. Yeah, you said to date y'all raised about $4,000. Is this the realtors?
The association, in conjunction with the city, through this specific race, we have raised approximately $4,000. The proceeds of this race.
For the first 2 years, we've only raised $4,000.
We've been doing the race for 7 years. So every year, you know, we try to raise a little bit more and a little more. We're really hoping to get some additional sponsors to help us with the contributions. That money that we have raised helped to go to build the fitness zone that is in the park right now.
Thank you. If staff can get me for the last 7 years, how much money we raised, I need to know that. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Yes, Vice Mayor?
I do also notice that we have Eric Ammon in the audience, who is the chairman of the Greater Boynton Beach Foundation, who's also a great partner with us as we do this 5K on a yearly basis. So I do want to just make sure to show him some appreciation, because him and his organization are very instrumental in allowing for us to really be successful in making that park what it is today. So thank you, Eric, and to your organization as well.
Our next announcement is the International Kinetic Art Exhibit and Symposium by Debbie Coles-DeBay, Public Arts Manager.
Hello, good evening. Debbie Coles, Public Art Manager, City of Boynton Beach. I hope you're all as excited about the International Kinetic Art Exhibit and Symposium as many people are. The event is going to be on February 2nd and 3rd. It's free to the public. Saturday, February 2nd, it's 9 to 6 p.m., and on Sunday, February 3rd, it's 11 to 4. This event creates a unique art experience in Boynton Beach, connecting us in Boynton with the global community, because it's an international event. It also helps with increase of cultural tourism in the city, helps with positive branding, and it also contributes to economic development, because we found that the businesses in the area, when people come to this event, are very busy. The restaurants are very busy, so that's one of the things we want to do. So what we have is many different things that are happening. Right now we have an outdoor kinetic art exhibition that's already installed, and it starts from East Ocean Avenue and First. It goes east to Federal Highway, north on Federal Highway, and then to the Boynton Beach Extension to the marina. So we're connecting again the downtown to the marina, which is one of the incentives of the Avenue of the Arts. So the 12 kinetic artworks that are there are very large pieces of outdoor kinetic works that are there for an entire year, so you can see them for the weekend event as well as the entire year, and we do a lot of tours throughout the whole entire year. The second thing that we will be installing a large exhibition tent at the address of 114 North Federal Highway, and that is the Ocean One Boynton location. So we've made a nice arrangement with the sponsorship of those property owners to be able to install a large exhibition tent, which will house about 36 indoor kinetic artworks. And then the other thing we'll have throughout that whole area that I spoke about, from First on Ocean all the way to the marina, will be about 4 different art experiences that will be happening. So we have things like solar shimmer, we have moving towards balance, we have the solar boxes, and so there's things, entertainment type things for kinetics that are integrated with children, adults, all ages. So all ages can enjoy this and be a part of it. The other thing that we're going to do is it's a free event, meant to mention that. It's all free. The other thing we're going to have is, again, we're going to have interpretive tours as well. So all abilities are and welcome to our event. And I do want to point out that we do have a brochure that's been already created, and it's up here at the front to take one. It has all the information with a map in it and everything that you need to know about it. as well as one of the things we're doing to pre-promote the event, in addition to our advertising campaign and promotional campaign, which we're getting a lot of national press on and international press on it, right, and local press as well. We're having a Art Palm Beach booth, which is a wonderful, like 11 by 30 foot booth, which was given to us free by the local promoter. And Art Palm Beach weekend is this weekend, January 16th through the 20th. That's booth 534, so we welcome you to that. We have free passes if you'd like to do that, or you can go to the website, which is intlkinetic.artevent.org. And on the page, you can literally go there and get a free pass to come to Art Palm Beach. So there's a lot of fun that's happening. You can also go to boyntonbeacharts.org or the city website and then connect to all these wonderful areas to learn about the International Kinetic Art Exhibit and Symposium. Do I have any questions?
Where is Art Palm Beach going to be held?
Art Palm Beach, thank you, is at the Palm Beach Convention Center at 650 Okeechobee Road. So welcome you to come there. Yes?
Just so I'm not aware, is there currently an opportunity for residents, not necessarily just artists, but if any particular resident who enjoys this fest wants to submit something for like a local display, is that currently an opportunity?
Well, we do have local people that are involved in this. In fact, one of our projects is called Solar Shimmer, and we have 200 students in 3 schools, Point Siena, Galaxy, and Boca Middle, that have contributed to this installation that will be happening. So we've already infused and involved the local community into the project. There's also Kinetic Canopy, which again is a local group of people, whether they're artists, businesses, like Boca Bearings, South Tech Academy, they're involved in it, and they're going to display their what they produce as far as art and technology display. There's also local artists that are involved in this already, and we will have marketing materials for local businesses that the CRA will extend to us. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think, yeah, that as I've kind of discussed in previous meetings, my personal desire is to see that increased local involvement, or you know, to put an emphasis on public art, meaning not just art in public places, but art by the public or for the public. So I like that, you know, the school children have been involved, South Tech Academy. I'd love an opportunity in the future to see whether it's a competition or just an ability to submit for display in a kind of Boynton Beach resident area, not necessarily artists, but people who might be turned on by what they see and might have some skill sets, whether they're carpenters or work with metal and things. I'd love to see in the future, whether it's a small pavilion or something, you know, modest, where people who are interested from the community could submit and display their art. And obviously some sort of criteria, so it's not, if I tried to submit something, it would probably be so poorly done that I would understand why people would not want it there. But I think it'd be awesome if we could engage the community so that when they go and they see this, you know, they've got an extended period of time to think, I might want to put something together and maybe submit this so it can be displayed for my fellow residents to see.
Well, we do have many local artists that are involved in the kinetic exhibition, whether it's the outdoor kinetic artist or the indoor kinetic artist. So there's a mix. They're not just international, national. There's many local. In fact, when you go to the website, you'll see where they're from. We have Lake Worth, we have North Palm Beach, we have Palm Beach, we have some Boynton artists. So we have a really good representation of local artists that are involved in this event. The other thing I wanted to mention, which is pretty amazing, we have about 40 local volunteers that are involved in this as well. So that's a great way to involve the community. They actually, when we did a call out for them, there was so many people that it was, I'm still getting people wanting to be involved. So it's pretty enriching knowing that the community is so supportive of this exhibition. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Our next announcement is an update and presentation on activities in the Public Works Department by Andrew Mack, Director of Public Works and Engineering.
Good evening, Andrew Mack, Public Works Director and Engineering. Just wanted to say I'm truly blessed to work for the city. I enjoy every day I get to come to work and serve the residents and work with some of the best employees you have in the city. I'm truly blessed. So just a brief update on what we've been doing over the last year. Some of the successes that we've had. Town Square relocations, obviously everybody is familiar with the Town Square project, but in order to make that happen, we had to move the fire department, city hall, the police department, all to temporary locations, which was quite a feat, and I had to give props to my staff who made that happen. Actually, I wanted to have my staff, if I have some here, if all my public works staff can stand up, and all the staff that we have that work day in, day, give them applause. We have staff from facilities and solid waste and engineering.
Mr. Mike, excuse me, I'm going to do better than that. Why don't y'all come up and stand behind him? I'm
Sure.
just saying, he didn't do it by himself. Yeah. Y'all need to come down front. Yeah.
Typically, we do at our Christmas party, we actually have the staff sing, the new staff. So we thought about having them sing tonight, but we'll pass on that. So as we continue on, some of the other successes we've had are continuing service contracts that we've had completed. We recently executed contracts for paving and concrete, the landscape maintenance, and our minor construction work. Some of the service contracts that we actually have out for bid right now are continuing service contracts for painting, janitorial, and solid waste truck rental. And the reason we're doing these service contracts is it's a quicker way to get these projects that we need to get completed done, so that we're working with relationships with on an ongoing basis with contractors. Some other successes that we've had, we just completed the career path for engineering division. We also had the new fleet awning, and I want to thank you. The mechanics are very appreciative that you funded that project. We also have a fleet study that's currently underway, and we should have a draft report in January and hopefully a final report back to you in February. We have rebranding of the public works vehicles and the solid waste routeware. Just a couple of pictures I put in the presentation. This is actually a picture of our awning at the Fleet Bay. I know there was some question before as whether this would make it through a hurricane, and as you can see, those columns in that structure is very solid. And this is a picture of our new truck. It was actually in the holiday parade at the end, and one of our drivers he said he had the best time of his life driving that truck at the holiday parade. So next year, I think we're going to be entering a float in that parade as Public Works. So some of the initiatives that we currently have underway are our career path for solid waste division and the fleet division. We're currently working with the HR department to implement that, and then we'll be working with HR to further the parks and grounds and facilities and streets. And then as well as we are the department that's managing the Town Square construction management out of our department. This was a picture that I snapped when we were doing the relocation of some of the trees from Town Square. We actually saved and relocated 128 trees from the 16.5 acres that went around to different parks. These were actually palms that were relocated to Hester Center. And this was a current aerial photo that was taken on January 10th. As you can see, most of the City Hall and the West Wing and the library is actually demolished. So some of the projects that we've completed this year, we just completed the painting of the Wilson Center and Denson Pool. We actually did the Oyer Park, the Coast Guard building entry. We actually did that in-house. In-house staff replaced the existing entry and replaced the and actually expanded it. Knollwood Park, we added the security gates to that facility in-house. Underway, we currently have Sarah Sims Park's reconstruction, Hester Center irrigation replacement. We're working with the designer as we speak to design the replacement of the irrigation system. Oceanfront Park Playground is currently being installed as we speak. We're hoping that project will be wrapped up here in the next couple of weeks. Palmetto Park, we've secured the pricing to do security upgrades, and then we're going to actually do the bathroom refurbishment in-house, saving that money to do it in-house to actually pay for some of these security upgrades at this park. Children's Museum, as you know, we received a grant for that project, so we're in the process of maintaining, implementing that grant and painting the soffit and painting the building, repairing the soffit, and repairing the floor on some of the minor areas in the building. Again, this is a picture of the Wilson Center that was after it was repainted. We're still working on the lights, and we have to finish the fencing around the pool, which we're currently hope to have that soon.
That's the Carolyn Sims Center, though.
Carolyn Sims,
yeah.
yes. This is a picture. I mentioned the entry at the Coast Guard building. As you can see, this was done by in-house staff that was completely demolished and actually expanded out. The original building was the original entry was only a couple feet over it, and they actually made it to about 6 or 8 feet, I believe. It came out really nice. If you get a chance to go take a look at that, it's a great facility. This is a fairly old picture of Sarah Sims. I took this about a month ago when they were doing the clearing of the site. So there's a little bit more activity since then. I didn't get a chance to run out and get a current picture, but this was the subcontractor was out there rough grading the site and doing clearing and grubbing on the site. This is at Sarah Sims. This was a recent photo I took of the playground at Oceanfront Park as it's currently going in. And then some of the projects we have that's upcoming. Boynton Lakes Park playground replacement. We're currently working with the vendor on designing that park replacement playground. Meadows Park, we're getting ready to do painting, sidewalk repairs, and fencing. The ADA transition plan, the engineering department has engaged a consultant. We're actually out going to finish and update the ADA plan to include all of our sidewalks. Engineering department is also doing a street condition analysis to help with us with our planning for our street repaving. Forest Park neighborhood traffic calming. Again, the engineering department is doing a pilot study over in Forest Park neighborhood to look and see what traffic calming could be implemented in that area. So I'm looking forward to that project. Casa Costa, and we call it Pete's Pond, but the area behind Casa Costa, we're working on getting a landscape designer to redesign the irrigation and take care of some of the security concerns that the HOA has with the landscaping there. So we're hoping to get that project done soon as well. And then the last project on the extension as well, we're looking at removing some of the landscaping there and installing some more parking and doing away with those paver brick planters that keep falling over all the time. Some of the challenges that we have, obviously our public works compound is a fairly old facility, so that has some challenges for us. It's also undersized that we keep adding vehicles and some reason they don't go away, but we keep retaining where I think we're a little bit of a hoarder, but other than that, we have a lot of vehicles there and running out of space. Obviously competition for labor with the private sector is always a challenge when there's a booming market. Some of our enterprise software, I think we underutilize our software a little bit, and so I'm working with ITS to try and get some training to come in and help with our staff to better utilize our software and integrate it with our processes. And then one of our biggest challenges is illegal dumping and litter. We've recently teamed up with code compliant or community standards and our supervisors and going out and being very proactive to try and pick up illegal dumping on vacant lots. So this is something that we're going to work on more in the future to see if we can develop some pilot programs to help curb that through either education or some more social media campaigns to make sure that people know when to put out their bulk trash and vegetation. Okay, let's see. And with that, I'm going to turn it over. The solid waste manager, Davison, is going to do a update for you on your routeware. Okay. Down is
I promise I'll be shorter than my boss. Much shorter. Good evening. My name is Davidson Monesteem, manager for the solid waste division. What we have up on the screen right now, it's a quick update on the onboard computing system that we have recently implemented at the solid waste division. We have a complete timeline on the project from the date it was initially approved by Commission. Thank you. To the go live and training date. Multiple training sessions were provided for the drivers. We actually had the drivers log in successfully. They were provided of username and passwords to demonstrate to the trainers and the supervisors real-time service scenarios while they were in the training sessions. We actually have the trainer going out there following the drivers and getting the cab with some of them to make sure that they get a good grip of the system. We were actually ahead of schedule. We were scheduled to have a 2-week training sessions, and we completed that in 1 week. Training sessions also were provided to the office personnel. We are looking at right now of a work order list where we have the truck numbers, the driver's information, the customer's information, and some of the route status also. We have the heat map where we have a more detailed information on the route completion status per line of business. We have a dashboard where the office personnel can actually send messages to the drivers, look at the route status, the route completion status, and send messages to the drivers, and the drivers also are able to communicate with the office through the system with real-time service information. Once again, this is the OBU, what we call the onboard unit. The driver is able to see the customer's list on the right side, and we have the service options on the left side. Also, in the bottom of the screen, we can see that the driver has the opportunity to add comments, filter his route if he chooses to do so, and he can even request a signature of the customer if it's a commercial customer, if that is required to be taken on site. Excuse me. Once again, this is a picture of one of our drivers interacting with the tablet. He doesn't seem to be so happy he's being photographed. Sorry. What we have on the screen now, it's what we call a breadcrumb. It's also the plan versus actual. Technically, if the driver is scheduled to work 8 hours for the day, the supervisor or the manager can take the actual route and play it back into the system and see how the driver did. So basically, you can evaluate the driver's efficiency / performance. When you zoom it in, you can click on one of the dots. You can see not only the driver has serviced the entire area, but also he services the mayor's old address that we have over there. How do we know that the system is working? Now we have a perfect example of a residential customer and a commercial customer. The cart is facing out the wrong way. It's too close to the car. So the driver was able to take a picture without exiting the cab, and the picture was uploaded into the system automatically, sent it to the office. The customer was contacted, and then the driver was able to service that cart the same day without a service delay. Also, for the commercial customer, we have risk hazards. The dumpster is overloaded. There were pallets and bricks and 2x4s into that dumpster. They actually had to offload the dumpster to be serviced safely. And we have had instances where some of our truck windshields have been broken because of the pallets that customers have placed into the containers. Where are we now? We can happily say that we are 90% paperless. The commercial data integration has been completed successfully, and we have also completed our route sequencing, which is very important for the residential drivers. Our goals for the future is to have a complete system interface where we can do both commercial and wall-off billing at the same time, which is part of what Andrew mentioned earlier in one of the slides that he had up there, working with IT diligently to make that happen in the near future. Thank you.
Yes, Commissioner McCray.
Thank you. I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. And Mr. Mike, I want to say to you and the men and women that are standing up there, the reason I wanted you to come up so that I can look at you, so I can personally tell you all, thank you. No matter what your task is here in this city, you all, every time I see y'all, you're very professional. Hi, Commissioner, you know, we joke around and have fun, you know, and that's what I like. I like the camaraderie that we have, you know, among us. And I'd like to call you all tonight. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you.
Yes, I'd like to echo, the Commissioner McCray's comments. You know, I went by Public Works this week just to say hello, bring my new puppy over, and you guys do an amazing job keeping the city clean, making sure that trash isn't piling up. And we know it's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it, and really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Round of applause. Vice Mayor?
I just want to geek out for a second and say how amazing it is that we now have the technology where you can literally pull up to a home, take a picture where the car was parked too close to the garbage can, contact the individual, let them know that their car was parked in the wrong place and we can't pick up their trash, and on the same day go back. And that is amazing. I mean, I'm just geeking out about it because I think it's fantastic, and we have come this far, and I'm just grateful to the individuals who are here who just do their job. And maybe it's not as exciting as I'm making it sound today for you day in and day out, but I am grateful for what you do, and I'm appreciative for the service that you give to our city. It's amazing what you do on a daily basis, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
And our next announcement is for the Town Square Opportunity Fair on Thursday, February 14th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Ezel Hester Community Center, 1901 North Seacrest Boulevard. The Town Square project is seeking qualified vendors, subcontractors, skilled and unskilled labor. This opportunity fair is inviting the public to learn more about job opportunities, materials purchasing, training, and apprenticeship programs from community partners on the Town Square project.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, David Scott, Director of Economic Development and Strategy for the City of Boynton Beach. Mayor, you gave the entire announcement. On the 14th of February, we'll be hosting a job opportunity fair for both residents and businesses that are looking for opportunities on this project. As Andrew Mack showed, the project has been cleared. Town Square site has been cleared, and now we continue to move forward with the planning process to rebuild it. So E2L, partnering with the city and the CRA, are working together to create this job fair and talk about the opportunities with Town Square. Not only existing opportunities, but future opportunities coming up. We also invited some of our training partners, so you'll have Career Source involved, South Tech Academy, as well as Palm Beach State College will be there to participating in this, providing training opportunities for those who are interested. So we are excited about that. The Mayor mentioned that it's going to be held at the Hester Center, 1901 North Seacrest Boulevard on the 14th from 8 a.m. to 12 noon. For more information, you can call 561-880-5136 or email townsquareboyntonbeach@gmail.com. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Will this flyer be placed in any local newspapers?
We're working with Eleanor. We're going to make sure it's on the website. We're going to make sure it's pushed out through social media. Eleanor, will we put it on newspapers also? Yes, we can.
Please, I like for us to get as much coverage, Mr. Scott, as we can, because the one that you all had over here, I came by and dropped in, and I wasn't happy with what I saw in this time. Hopefully that, I can see an improvement.
We're going to maximize the promotion as much as we can. Thank you, Commissioner.
Sir.
Vice Mayor?
I'd like that phone number again, please.
It is 561-880-5136.
And the email?
It is townsquareboyntonbeach@gmail.com. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And our last announcement is from Craig Clark regarding the Friends with Library Adult Reading Club.
Good evening, Craig Clark, Library Director. Happy New Year, everyone. I'd like to announce that our friends of the Boynton Beach City Library are sponsoring their annual Adult Reading Club. It's to promote the love of reading and the importance of literacy in our community. You can sign up for the reading club for free through the end of February, and the prize this year for reading 10 books or it could be 10 magazines, whatever you choose, is an umbrella. It's a golf umbrella, so you can come in, sign up, read your 10 items, and you can collect your umbrella through the end of March. So you can come in, check out a book for a rainy day, and have an umbrella to get home with.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
Craig, do we physically have to come in, or can we do this online? Can we register online?
We can't register online at this point, but in the future we will be able to do that. Yes.
When we get to our new building.
Yeah. But I can register you.
Yeah, I was going to say, but we can call our local library director.
You can call me. You can call me. Send me an email. I'll register you.
Please.
Lori takes it.
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right. Any further announcements from the board? Seeing none, moving to public audience. Individual speakers will be limited to 3-minute presentations. Please state your name and address for the record. If you are wishing to speak about the items tabled, 8A or 8AB or 8E and F, now would be the time for you to speak.
Hi, let me pass these out first.
Jim, you can rewind it for the 3 minutes. There you
Now
go.
you can start. Susan Oyer, 140 Southeast 27th Way. It's been a while since I've come to you and tried to educate you on something. The first thing, the pink paper, I've been teaching my students about the first true 8 presidents. I'm sure Commissioner Katz already knows this, but we had 8 presidents before Washington, and most people are unaware, so I thought I would let you see this. Our actual first president, and this is under the Articles of Confederation. Washington's the first under the Constitution. But we had 8, and our actual first president was John Hanson, and George Washington voted for him. This is a nice little story all about him and these other men. Elias Boudinot, I hope I said that right, Thomas Mifflin, Richard Henry Lee, John Hancock, Nathan Gorman, Arthur St. Clair, and Cyrus Griffin. They were our first 8 presidents of our country. So, I hope this gives you a nice little civics education lesson. The next thing I want to talk about, the rest of the packet, is 3 examples of different paving options, because I think, I'm always up here talking about green initiatives, and I think you all should be looking at this. I just confirmed that this is not in the code, but it's not disallowed either, and maybe we should look at putting this in. It gives us some options, including to go with the permeable pavement. One of the articles is pros and cons, and then there's some more information on the other 2 packets. But the first option would be traditional concrete asphalt, and what they do is they reduce or eliminate the fine particles which are left out, which makes the concrete more porous, but you maintain almost the entire strength of what you normally have. So it's perfect for driveways or smaller applications. The plastic pavers, and there's a picture of it on the 3rd piece of paper I gave you, and I actually saw this when I was in France. It's absolutely amazing, and I would definitely want to do this for my driveway. So please, let this be allowed so I can, update my driveway and make code happy. But it's a honeycomb grid and a packet with gravel or grass, and it lets you have all the drivability on it, but yet you're keeping the beauty of it. It's maintaining the things in their little sections. And I'm going to run out of time. And the last one is concrete pavers, where they space them out. But I would ask that you would please consider adding this to the code and making this allowable, especially for homes, not just commercial things, and especially as we're moving forward with a lot of our new construction, this might be a nice option for people, especially if you're in a non-HOA neighborhood and you want to have a nice long-term but yet environmentally sensitive driveway. So thank you for your time this evening.
All right. Good afternoon. My name is Martin Fitzpatrick. I live at 101 Southwest 4th Avenue, and I have to say this is the first time that I've ever spoken into a microphone, let alone a city commission, so I apologize if my nerves get a little better at me. Today I'd like to talk about what's going to happen to Kids Kingdom. I was recently driving down Ocean Avenue and noticed that part of the castle is still up, and seeing it brought back a lot of memories for me. You see, when I was in elementary school, I went to Point Siena. We would take field trips to the new playground that was being built. It was one of a kind, nothing like it in Boynton or at least South Florida that I knew of. And our job, the kids' job, was to put soap on the screws so that the workers would have an easier time building it. And I grew up playing on that park. I helped to build it, and I was hoping to be able to play with it with my future kids on that same very playground. And I would be able to share with them the same joy that I would get from playing with my father on that playground. But now that dream is in jeopardy. If the playground cannot stay where it is, then let's move it someplace. At least then there would be a chance for me to make my own moments with my child and for them to have fond memories of growing up in Boynton, kind of like I did. Otherwise, there's not much here for me or for them. Thank you.
Mike Fitzpatrick, 175 Southwest 2nd Street. January 8th, last Tuesday, I walked to the playground, Kids Kingdom playground site, and I was concerned about what I saw. Half of it has been already demolished, but the castle is still intact. I was able to make an appointment with the city manager on Friday. She understood what I was asking and what was the concern, and so she helped set up a meeting at 2 p.m. on the same day with Mark Heffern of E2L and Haskell Corporation, who is the subcontractors doing the demolition, and several city staff. It was a great meeting, and I was I was appreciative of enthusiasm by particularly Haskell Corporation. They kind of liked the idea of saving something instead of demolishing it. It was kind of a new area for them. And I'd just like to thank the city for expediting the move of selected castle segments to Forest Hill Park. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Joe Kipp, and I live at 706 Southwest 24th Avenue in Chapel Hill. I grew up in the neighborhood in Chapel Hill, and Forest Hills Park was a huge part of my childhood. Having recently purchased a property of my own in Chapel Hill, I support park upgrades and beautification projects that make the park more attractive for the residents. I also support the preservation and relocation of Kids Kingdom to Forest Hills Park, having also assisted in its construction at a young age myself, and I urge the Commission to do the same. Thank you.
Yes, my name is Randolph Jones. I live at 908 Asbury Way, Boynton Beach. I'm a Vietnam veteran, Bronze Star, Navy Unit Accommodation. I'm here to address about this pop-up dog park. They had a pop-up dog park at Boynton Beach on Saturday. I walk that beach every day. You can ask any police officer, anybody goes there, they see me there every day. The Sunday after that pop-up park, I walked in dog poop, where people didn't pick up their dog poop. Okay? When I went back my walk, I told people that worked there. They said they saw people covering up dog poop when they dog pooped on the sand. You know, you have that dog park a half a day. When the dog park is over, you ask some people to pay money to go lay in that sand and where dogs been pissing and shitting all day, you know?
Excuse me.
Excuse my language, I apologize. But it's very irritating that y'all not actually paying attention to this.
I understand that.
Okay, there's an area on that beach. When you first go down those steps, there's a net and a sign that says public beach. That area from there to those condos, 4 days to 5 days a week, people are down there walking their dogs with no leashes, no one saying anything to them. Just 6:30, 7:30, 8 in the morning. No one, everybody's happy, everybody gets along. 4 or 5 days a week, go down there. People are walking their dogs on leashes, off of leashes. So to me, to tie up 8 city workers to go work at a pop-up park, you're not even charging people to get into the place. But, you know, that just don't make sense to me. Now, I might have missed it, but I'm a Vietnam veteran. I don't remember a pop-up day for veterans. I'll be 71 years old in March. I don't remember a pop-up day for senior citizens. So I don't understand what this pop-up day stuff is all about if it's only for dogs and dog owners to get in for free. And if you check their IDs, half those people live up and down A1A. That park is said Boynton Beach. Boynton Beach people clean that park up. And that's it. That's all I want to say.
All right. Thank you for your comments.
How you doing? My name is Tori Orr, 407 Northeast 17th Avenue. I'm here on account of I'm on the Martin Luther King Committee Board, and I want to give all the people out who came out a hand for coming out and supporting us. We had a good time. It was fun. All the kids had fun. The adults, the old senior citizens had fun. And I hope that we could work some more with the city of Boynton on doing something else, because that was real good. And with that, I'm gone.
Tori, excuse me, before you leave, I'd like to say, you know, I heard comments from about your group that was out there, how y'all pitched in and helped and worked and made it successful. And I want to tell you, it was noticed. I even noticed it, and I want to tell you personally, thank you. You can tell your group I said thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, Eric Ammon, 3100 Fernwood Drive, Boynton Beach, Florida, in the Chapel Hill area. I'm a resident of the area for about 5 years. Chose Chapel Hill because it's a family-centric area. I volunteer on the Parks and Recreations Advisory Board, and I'm chairman of the Greater Boynton Beach Foundation. The foundation has put a lot of support into supporting recreation, education, and culture for the area, both with the Barrier-Free Park and now with a more recent focus on the Forest Hills Park. It was a park that was somewhat forgotten, dilapidated, broken playground equipment, rusted picnic tables. The grass was brown, and many other areas. The baseball diamond, of course, had been forgotten about and overgrown with weeds. My wife and I decided to get involved, the help with Wally Majors and giving some direction for us in joining the foundation. I reached out to the community less than a year ago to see what we could do together as a community to help develop a better park, both with Girl Scout Park, hopefully in the future, and with Forest Hills Park. Within a month, the grounds, with the help of the city, the sprinkler systems got fixed, the basketball court got power washed, the baseball diamond got regraded. We reached out to some of the community leaders and found Joshua Adams, a national playground installer, to donate, I believe what he told me, and you know, don't quote me on it, but between $40,000 and $60,000 worth of equipment and his time to upgrade the park. The park is looking beautiful, and it shows a lot what the community can do when it comes together to maintain its own parks and to help develop its own parks, its own community. Since then, we've had 2 get-to-know-your-neighbor picnics, which have been very successful, and I thank the city people for being there, showing their support as well. Last night, in just 2 hours, we were able to pull together 51 signatures. For 90% of the homes we went to said yes, that they would love to have Forest Hills Park be the new home for the Kids Kingdom Castle. So I'd like to submit these right here. If you give me a week, I guarantee you we'll have 200 to 300 signatures from the neighborhood, well accepting the Kids Kingdom Castle. It was built as a group, as a community venture, and we'd like to be able to preserve that. So I ask that the city take well note of that and find any way possible with the support of the foundation where needed, and certainly the people of Chapel Hill community to make that happen. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. I'm Patty Rezzacani. I live at 3305 Churchill Drive in Chapel Hill. I'm a resident. I've been living in Chapel Hill for 20 years, and my son grew up going to Forest Hills Park and got into Girl Scout Park a little bit too in the event, and has enjoyed it. I'm definitely a resident that supports using this castle and putting it into Forest Hills Park. I'm also a member of the Greater Boynton Beach Foundation, actively working with Eric and others with the city to really help promote our parks and make it a better place for our community and our residents. Chapel Hill definitely would like to. I was one of those out getting signatures last night. Everybody I talked to thought it was a wonderful idea. Why not enhance it, and why not utilize the supplies that are available and put it to good use for not only our children, but hopefully, I mean, I have grandchildren now I'd like to bring to that park and have enjoy it. So I'm definitely for support.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Alana. I'm in 220 Southwest 3rd Street. And
I'm Julia. I live in 2561 Southwest 11th Street.
So we are here for Boynton Beach Cares, which mean community activists.
Talking to Mike, I can't hear you. I apologize.
Sorry. It means, okay, so we're from Boynton Cares, and it means, the acronym is Community Activist Rehabilitation for the Ecosystem. So what we do is we clean up the beach that is, this one? Yeah, the beach over here. And so we, it helps out with the pollution because it helps not because we have seen lots of bottle caps, plastic. She found like a lot of bones. And we were very concerned, and this cleanup helps keep our community clean, and we think that more people should come, and it's a very nice place. And even though it starts early, they give us coffee and donuts, which is really, really good in the morning. So we, yeah, it helps reduce the pollution in the water, which affects the marine animals, and it will like choke turtles that think that the bags are jellyfish, and it's not healthy for the environment. Would you like to go? Because I am taking up all the time.
Okay. I've lived in Boynton Beach for 13 years, and during those 13 years, I've been in every activity program. And when I wasn't doing this, I was actually helping the environment anyway, and I think that we can keep this environment clean. Thank you. Thank you. And that there is hope to keep our city clean, and that we can reduce littering. Thank you.
Thank you. And to the young ladies that just spoke, we do have availability on our Education Youth Advisory Board. If you would like to further help the city out, we need some student members. Yes.
Thank you. I'm also here from Boynton Cares. So my name's Kevin Homer, and I live at 2505 Lake Drive North. I'm going to talk fast because I've got a special surprise for Commissioner McCray at the end. December and January were very successful months for Boynton Cares. Sponsors included Taverna Tria, Domino's Pizza, Miller's Ale House, and they all generously donated $100 in gift cards. Thank you to Dunkin' Donuts on Federal Highway next to the Walmart for continuing to provide our volunteers with coffee and donuts, like the girls just stated. Finally, thank you to Willie for a wonderful written-up article for this month's Coastal Star. One of the items collected was a deflated raft which took 3 people to remove from the fragile mangroves within a few hundred feet from this room. As a reminder, the mangroves serve as a nesting grounds for marine life and birds. They also clean our water and prevent erosion. At the last cleanup, we spoke about the resurgence of the manatees in the area. In the last 30 years, they've made quite the comeback thanks to no-wake zones. However, of the last 800 that passed away last year, 700 deaths were attributed to water pollution. Thanks to Lagoon Keepers, a nonprofit group, and the Boynton Beach Marine Unit, part of the police department, who removed and destroyed a derelict sailboat here in Boynton Beach last week. This boat violated the law and, equally as important, dragged anchor more than 2 football fields, ripping up protected seagrass, which manatees eat. In addition, the seagrass roots filter our water. Two comments off topic. The first is geared to our still new police chief. Prior to your arrival, my fiance and I, we used to play a game in the car similar to Punch Buggy or Doodle Bug. And when we'd get a point when we would see a police car on the street. We stopped playing this game and have moved on to dominoes after the chief implemented a stronger police presence on the road. This is a good thing. I'm speaking, yesterday I spoke with a high-ranking law enforcement officer in a neighboring city. He told me that it takes 90 days to get to know the community, another 90 days to implement, and then some patience from us. I thank you publicly for what you're doing for the city and support you, and for what's yet to come. Thank you. Lastly, you can clap. Lastly, I hear lots of comments about the permitting department and how slow things move along. This weekend, a resident in Leisureeville was so frustrated with the permitting department that she went so far to call the city anti-development. Upon turning my own permits, Colin told me the following. Yes, Kevin, the city is strict, and some of what we ask for may sound ridiculous, but trust me, it's for good reason. It is our system, and I support the city firmly. Well, Colin, I'll take things one step further. You and your staff are very approachable. In having permits issued for my house, I found that it was not a horror story or anything close. Thanks to you and Patsy Grissom. Patsy was a pleasure to work with, and you all are very lucky to have her on your team. Thank you. Finally, to Commissioner McRae, I wanted to end on that, but finally to you, in the attempts to negate your comments towards a group who presented for the Magic Wheels event, I'm going down to my car right now to write a check for $400 or 10% of what this group raised last year for the disabled.
Thank you, sir.
And those comments were positive, and you know what I'm talking about.
Thank you.
Okay.
Dr. Piotr Blas, 113 Tara Lakes Drive, Boynton Beach, Florida, 33436. I have some flyers. These are handwritten flyers.
Okay.
I'm going to give the remaining flyers to the public just a second. So everybody has one. Okay, so I'm honored to say that I am a write-in candidate for mayor of Boynton. This is the first time that in the history of this city you have a write-in candidate. I'm proud to say that because it opens new opportunity for every citizen of Boynton. It only takes $25 to be a write-in candidate. It's much more to be on the ballot. So at this point, I believe democracy is increased, and Martin Luther King is smiling at us from heaven. And I welcome my friendly competitor, the doctor who spoke to us, who knows the MLK House. If I win, she will be co-mayor. My team from the University of Michigan and my sacred teacher, Maxwell Reed, who lived 100 years, were the actual leaders of affirmative action in the United States. Go Blue, Michigan led. And I like to think I am the continuator of that. Elections in Florida must not be race wars. Martin Luther King said, judge a person based on the content of their character. I have seen too much running here in governor's race and otherwise that people vote based on color, ethnicity, and so on. This to me is disgusting. Do not fall into that. Reverse racism is still racism. My plans for Boynton are spelled out here. And before you even look at it, you have to know you're listening to the person who gave this country the first website. That's me. Therefore, I'm proposing enormous energy influx, tall buildings. We will attempt a wage incredible, $300 an hour. If you don't believe me, you get $250. And we will have free medical, dental, counseling. So it is going to be like Israel, like Switzerland. And we can do it. Enough politicians in suits. They steal your money. Write me in for mayor. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak in public audience? Seeing none,
Mayor.
Yes.
Dr. Blass promised that if he won, I'd be co-mayor, so I'm a little confused.
Yeah, he also made that promise to me too.
A true politician.
Yeah. Seeing that no more people speaking, public audience is now closed. Moving on to administrative advisory board appointments. We have one applicant for our Arts Commission, one of our Boynton Beach heroes, or superheroes, Clovis Moody. And I would like to nominate her from alternate to regular.
Second.
All right. All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously. For Building Board of Adjustments and Appeals, we have one regular and two alternates available. Education and Youth Advisory Board, we have two students available. Historic Resource Preservation Board, we have one alternate available. The Library Board, we have one alternate available. For the Firefighter Pension Board, we have an applicant of Desiree Walter.
Second.
Watler, that's what it says. I'm sorry. Second, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? And we have one alternate available for the Senior Advisory Board. All right, moving on to consent agenda. Is there any item that the Commission wishes to pull for consent agenda?
I'd like to pull item K. K. Like in Kellogg.
Okay. All right, and I'd like to item L. Is there anything else from the board? Seeing none. Begin with item K.
Yes, the reason I had this pull was that I'd like an update on what is going on with what we call our government surtax fund.
Good evening, Andrew Mack, Director of Public Works and Engineering. I had the honor to put together a brief presentation on this. Is what we're doing is a modification to our approved fiscal year surtax CIP budget. So I wanted to go over some of the highlighted changes that are what you're considering for approval tonight. So one of the first items is we're reallocating funds for projects that were either completed by in-house staff, similar to what I mentioned about the Coast Guard building, and or that were done as other projects. For instance, the mausoleum at the HVAC at the mausoleum at the cemetery, we actually were able to salvage the air conditioning from City Hall and replace it at the mausoleum. So again, those were savings that we were actually able to realize, for instance, and reallocate in the fund, as well as the Harmony Park ADA that was taken care of when they did the Public Arts project, the Heritage Park ADA when we finished the Sarah Sims project, that ADA will be taken care of, and the Coast Guard covered entry replacement.
Andrew, excuse me, I'm going to stop you because I need to know about the Boynton Mausoleum. Do we own that, the city?
Yes.
We own that?
Yes.
How many crepes do we have available?
I don't have that information, but I can get that to you.
Okay, go ahead.
Another item that I'd like to highlight is reallocation of funds where bids came in under budget, which is always a good thing. At Oceanfront Park, we bid out our shade sales. I always have a problem saying that one. There was a substantial savings there that we're reallocating for additional work at the park, and vice versa. The reallocation of the funds where bids came in over budget. For instance, our stairs and retaining wall was more than what we anticipated there. Another item that we're doing, we're delaying a project at Pioneer Canal Park. We're looking at redoing the fishing pier and going out seeking grants. And we're also looking at retrofitting and redesigning the park a little bit, so we didn't want to invest money yet until that plans were completed. So we're delaying that project, freeing up money for other projects. A new project was added to the existing project at Palmetto Greens Linear Park. Currently, there's no fencing to secure that park at night, so we're adding fencing, and then we're going to upgrade the lighting to LED for security. Some other projects that we are highlighting are being moved up from a further fiscal year. One is the Hester Center basketball court resurfacing. It's scheduled for next year, but it's actually in need of being done now. So we're redoing that. Hester Center walkway lighting LED upgrades is another project. The walkway lighting is in need of repair, so we're doing that as well. Meadows Park, we've been doing a fairly large project there, so while we're there, we want to upgrade the lighting to LED there. And then Oceanfront Park, after Hurricane Matthew, the roofs at the Oceanfront Park became damaged, and they're actually past replacement. So and before we do the shade sales, we want to go ahead and replace all the roofs at the park.
I have a question. Are we trying to do LED lights upgrades at all our facilities?
Yes, sir. LED lights last longer, and they're more efficient. So it's a win-win. In actuality, you can also see that we've already contracted with FP&L, and I don't know if you've noticed, but out in the community, we've actually been upgrading FPL streetlights have been getting upgraded to LED as well. So that's a summary of the changes that are before you tonight.
Okay, with that, motion to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor state so by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to approve the revised investment policy for the City of Boynton Beach funds except for pension funds and funds related to the issuance of debt. So I was reading up about this. It says that the last time we looked at the investment policy was 2005, and the new recommendation is that we do it on an annual basis. If there's any need to change, then I guess you'll come up to the board to say that there's no need, because I think 13 years was a little bit too long before we have the new investment policy. I noticed that we don't have anything for long-term. Is that any specific reason that we don't invest in 10-year or 30-year government bonds or corporate bonds extended after 5 years?
The long term is just for more liquidity in the current investments based on debt payments and things like that. So we don't want our funds tied up more than the 5 years.
Okay. I appreciate all the work that you've done, Mara, regarding this. I'm sure it's done a lot, and I look forward to making the city more money. So may I have a motion to approve?
Oh, second.
Thank you. All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously. May I have a motion to pass the remainder of the consent agenda?
So move.
All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to bids and purchases over $100,000. Proposed resolution number 19-007 authorizes the city manager to sign an addendum 1 with Rick Mayan International Inc. in the amount of $9,826,901. That includes $9,326,901 for the completion of construction of the Progressive Design Build for Central Seacrest Corridor Utility Improvement Phase 2, and an additional $500,000 as a contingency to address any unforeseen conditions or issues during construction. The total cost for the contract will increase from $3,233,885.33 to $13,060,787.18. May I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second for discussion. I'm sorry.
All right.
Allergies are acting up. Just a concern regarding the Seacrest improvements, but really within the neighborhoods, this is an issue where we're having contractors, we've talked about this, Colin, just not repairing sprinklers and sidewalks or lawns after they've installed. What assurance can we get that this will not continue, and what information can we give to the public to make sure that they're reporting to us? That way, if that happens, that we can help resolve those issues.
Yes, I can answer that real quick. The contractor is responsible for repairing all the damage to sprinklers. A lot of people have sprinkled into the right-of-way, put their sprinkler system, so as they're putting in pipe, putting in swales, these things get cut. They don't know where they are. We do rely on the residents to tell us when their system is not working. We've given out 2 door hangers, a brochure. We've had a couple of meetings with them and sent them letters with contact numbers. But of course, not everybody always has that handy to call. So we do somewhat rely on the citizens. Because we don't know when their irrigation system's coming on. So we do rely on them to call us. We do have a requirement with our contractor that they get back to them within the same business day they call, or if it's on the weekend, the very following business day. We're going to do some more work because clearly people still don't have the number. So after we talk today, we're going to work on another door hanger brochure that'll go out there as we're working. So it's not just ahead of time. It's when they're going down the street to go ahead and start hanging. Because we're getting ready to start doing sidewalks, piping and all of that, which swales and all that, which will damage more irrigation systems. The contractor is responsible for fixing it. We just got to get the information to them so they can get it fixed.
Do you have that number so we can say it publicly today?
Oh.
Get that to you. I'm sorry, I don't have it.
I'm going to do it right now. Give me one second.
We'll get it.
As he talks, go ahead and find the number so we can
go.
say it for the
All
record.
right,
Thank you.
Would you like to have, it seems you have a presentation. Would you like to present?
Yes, Joe Paternitti, Utility Director. This is a big project for the city in the Forest Park area, and it warrants a little bit of a presentation on what's going on with the project. Let's see if I can advance the slide here. There we go. Project description. This is a neighborhood improvement project. It consists of new water mains, stormwater treatment, new sidewalks, driveway aprons, and resurfacing the roadway. In addition, this project includes a 10-inch diameter wastewater force main to serve Federal Highway and Ocean Ridge. It connects to our existing wastewater collection system. Wrong button. This is the project area, and it's bordered on essentially I-95 on the west and Seacrest Boulevard on the east. A portion of it on the eastern side goes to First Street, southeast First Street. On the north, it's bordered by northwest Fifth Avenue, and on the south by Woolbright Road. So there's over 600 residences in this area, so it's a major project for the city. See if I can get the right button this time. Yes, this is an outline of the proposed force main, the 10-inch force main, pretty much essentially going through the middle of our project to First Street, and then south across Woolbright Road through the water treatment plant site on Woolbright and Seacrest, and then heading east on 18th Avenue to Federal Highway, where it turns north and then goes east again along the Walgreens area, parking area right there on Federal and Woolbright. And then it'll cross and collect wastewater from the Ocean Ridge development. Oops, wrong button again. I'll get this right eventually. Project history, the Commission approved the Phase 1 design build project on May this year for $3.233 million. The Phase 1 task included construction of the water main system within the developed area, as well as the final design of the above-ground improvements as well. So this Phase 2 project, the remaining items are the force main construction, the stormwater improvements within the neighborhood, reclaiming the water right-of-way, as we mentioned just a few minutes ago, where we're moving trees and landscape out of the public right-of-way, and also paved areas within the public right-of-way to provide better drainage in that project area. In addition, we're going to be providing roadway improvements, resurfacing the road, and as Andrew mentioned, we're doing some traffic calming within the neighborhood to try and slow some vehicles down. We're also providing sidewalks and concrete driveway aprons to the residents in the neighborhood. This is the project schedule, and I can't quite see it from here, but I probably should be sitting at the desk there, but this is the project schedule. It goes from today, and then it ends. The project should be completed as scheduled by June 2020. So what we have here is the four major categories: the force main, the right-of-way, driveways, and the roadway improvements. This would be the last item. And the force main is under design right now, so the alignment could shift a little bit, but that's pretty much the design of the project. Come on, baby. There you go. Went too far. Hit it too many times, but that's it. Questions?
That's it.
Still working on it.
Yes,
I have
Commissioner
one.
McCray.
Thank you. You said that y'all going to be putting in some traffic calming devices. Explain to me what will you all be putting in?
That's under Andrew's.
As I mentioned in my presentation, we're actually contracted with a design consultant, and they're actually designing those now. Those could be traffic delineators, they could be diamond-shaped roundabouts, closure of streets. We're looking at all the options, tabletops that are similar to like a speed hump, but at intersections. So these are the things that we're looking at and they're studying the area to actually see where the traffic is coming from, what the speeds are, where their destinations are. So they're studying to see come up with the best solutions are. That's what we're doing as part of our project, and we hope to have ours done so that we can integrate it into the utilities project.
You know, I'm really concerned because, first of all, I don't know what you all will be putting in, but we told people that we could not put speed bumps in certain areas. And when you all saying start putting in traffic calming devices, whatever way they might be, or however you're going to call them, I'm just saying hopefully we're not sending out the wrong message, because people say, can't you put something on my street? Because if you can, I want y'all to put something on my street.
Yeah, and what we're doing is this project, what we look at is we'll probably continue this throughout the city and look at neighborhoods and see what devices that we come up with that meets the standards with the police department, with the fire department as well. One of the reasons that we don't like to put speed humps in is it does slow down responses. Plus, you do see with speed humps that it actually increases speeding. So what we're looking at is different things like narrowing the roadway at intersections, so it forces the driver to make themselves aware and slow down through the neighborhoods.
Right, I'm aware of those speed bumps, but not the humps. I'm just saying, hopefully y'all don't start putting them back in, because I don't want them to start coming and saying,
yes,
you put them on that street, I want them on mine, and I hope you don't open up a can of worms. That's the way I'm looking at it.
Absolutely, and we'll be going back we'll bring it back to commission once we have a design done.
All right.
Okay.
Any further questions from the board? Seeing none?
I was going to go ahead and give the hotline number.
Okay, the hotline number.
I'm sorry. So there is a hotline number only for the project. It's 561-839-1758. And that's answered usually during the business day within an hour, and weekends the next business day.
It's not monitored, so everyone will have to leave a voicemail.
Yeah, it's a hotline to leave a voicemail. It's not answered. You leave a voicemail, and all you have to do is leave your name, address, and the issue, and they'll be out very quickly, especially during the week.
Let me ask another question in regards to these lawns that, the sprinklers, et cetera. When the contractor go out and see a yard that's immaculate, very well kept, and they go out and do what they have to do, perhaps it might be a language barrier, and then you go out a month and say, well, what's going on with this lawn? And they might not know that they could have. Will you all approach the people and say, we're going to take care of this for you? This is what I'm hearing you all saying.
Yes, absolutely. So the whole project has been videotaped and pictured, so we do know what these things look like, and the contractor's responsible for bringing them back to that condition or better.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you, Colin.
We have any further comments from the board? All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Proposed resolution number R19-008, award bid for Sarah Sims Park electrical improvements, and authorize the city manager to sign an agreement with and issue a purchase order to Cerrito Electric, Inc. of West Palm Beach, Florida, as the lowest responsible bidder in the amount of $511,774, plus a contingency amount of $51,177 for a total estimated amount of $562,951. Award is contingent upon the receipt and approval of insurance and performance and payment guarantee.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion from the board? Seeing none, all those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Proposed resolution number R19-009, authorize the city manager to sign an agreement with Rosso Site Development, Inc. of Lake Worth, Florida, to award bid for Sarah Sims Park landscape and irrigation improvements as the lowest responsible bidder in the amount of $345,216 plus a 10% contingency in the amount of $34,521 for a total estimated amount of $379,738. Award is contingent upon the receipt and approval of insurance and performance and payment guarantee.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion from the board. Seeing none, all those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Proposed resolution number R19-010. Authorize the city manager to sign a quote from Spillman Technologies, Inc., a Motorola Solutions company for managed services in connection with police records management services for a total 5-year cost of $157,250, including a first-year cost of $47,922.
Second for discussion.
Yes.
I'd like to ask somebody, once we approve this here, will this be able to be moved from wherever we have it when they put it into the new police department? Chief, you don't feel good. Let Tim get it. Go ahead.
Tim Howard, Assistant City Manager. Yes, this part is the records management system will move to the new police station, and this is a third party to manage the servers and to make sure there's a fail-safe backup for those servers. So it'll be handled with the new building.
All right. No further discussion. All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Approved task order for the construct the retaining wall and stairs at Oceanfront Park to ENF Florida Enterprises, Inc., doing business as Creative Contracting Group, in the amount of $119,800, and authorize a purchase order in accordance with the pre-qualified vendors for minor construction service agreements. This approval is contingent upon the receipt and approval of insurance and payment and performance bonds. May I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Discussion from the board? Seeing none, all those in favor state so by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Approved task order for Oceanfront Park shade sale and roof replacement to Republic Construction Group, Inc., and authorize a purchase order in the amount of $106,887 in accordance with the pre-qualified vendors for minor construction service agreements. This approval is contingent upon the receipt and approval of insurance and payment and performance bonds. May I have?
Second.
For discussion?
Yes.
Okay.
Commissioner McCray.
Question for staff. Is this money going to be coming from the surtax?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
And one of my questions, what is the life span for these shade sails? And what happens if there's a hurricane and they get torn down?
During a hurricane, we do have to take those down at the Oceanfront Park. I believe they have a 25-year life on the shade sails.
Okay, perfect. All right, any further discussion from the board? Seeing none, all those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Approved task order with Arcadis US Inc. in the amount of $197,868.25 in accordance with RFQ General Consulting Services Contract Scope Category B, awarded by City Commission on August 7, 2018 for work on the Dimmick and Potter utility stormwater and water improvements. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion from the board?
Yes. This is coming out of utility funds?
Yes, this is a utility project.
I'm good.
And where is this located?
This is it's north off of Federal, on the east side of Federal, just south of the new townhome subdivision, which I forgot, the Casa
Del Mar.
Casa Del Mar.
So north of Gateway?
Just south of there. It's the two roads that are south of that.
Okay.
That neighborhood.
Thank you. All right. Any further discussion from the board? Seeing none, did we have a motion?
Yes.
Thank you. All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to public hearing, items A and B are tabled until February 5th. Moving on to proposed ordinance number R19-006. Jim?
Oh, hold on, let me get my bearings. You said A and B is tabled. What is B? B
I'm
is
sorry,
something different.
A is tabled, B is,
Yeah.
You know what, I actually tabled B, because
Well, you
it's this
untable it then.
Then we want to untable item B, please.
Motion to untable, remove from the table. Well, stop it, just go ahead.
Thank you.
It's a new vocabulary.
All right, may I have a second, please?
Second.
All those in favor?
Untable.
All right.
All medication,
All those opposed? Seeing none. Moving on to the request for major site plan modification approval to construct one-story building additions totaling 6,657 square feet to an existing three-building, 10,865 square foot warehouse complex for a total of 17,722 square feet and related site improvements.
Is the applicant here?
Applicant is Jose Obiso, JAO Architects and Planners.
Okay, anybody who intends to testify in this quasi-judicial proceeding, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. When you come to the microphone, please identify yourself if you have special qualifications to testify. If you're an architect, engineer, design professional, please tell the commission about that so they'll weigh your testimony in that regard.
My name is Jose Obeso, JAO Architects, 3100 Northwest Boca Raton Boulevard in Boca Raton, Florida. And I am the architect for the warehouse project where we are doing pretty much 3 warehouse additions to the existing 3 buildings which currently exist at 403 Northeast 3rd Street. Do you have the slides? Oh, yeah. I remember.
If you'd like, you could go to the laptop to make it easier up front.
Okay. Yeah. Pretty much they are 3 existing warehouse buildings, and we are building where the yellow boxes are. We're adding, in 2 of the instances, in the center, we are doing 2 3,000 square foot buildings, which are similar to what's currently right there. And then at the end, we're doing like a small maintenance, about 1,000 square foot building in that particular area for support. These buildings are supposed to be for a single user, not multi-user or anything of that nature. It's as a storage. I'll try to see if I can get this to change. I'm sorry.
Get a less complicated pointer? I feel like everybody struggles with our pointers. What's the big deal?
I'm sorry. Pretty much we're following the same theme of the buildings that are currently there right now. The taller buildings in the center are the additions that we're doing. The other buildings, the one to the sides and the very one in the middle are the existing buildings. And then we have the rear elevation and side elevations, which follow pretty much the same theme of the buildings currently in that location. This is the rendering. I'm sorry. This is the rendering of what the building would look like when they're built. We're enhancing the landscaping and so forth around the area. And then over here we have the aerial of what's currently right there, where you can see where we're going to be doing the three additions to the buildings. I believe that goes back to, that's it. Do you have any questions, anything?
I think I've been driving by there, and you have a security fence currently up there. Is that correct?
This is how it's going to look, correct.
And so is the security fence going to be continued there after construction?
Yes.
So the view that we're getting is 7 feet of security fence and whatever's on top?
Correct.
Okay. So.
I have a question. This one might be for staff. I'm just saying with this, doing what he's requesting, there's nothing underground, anything that we're going to run into conflict to have a problem with?
I'm sorry, say that again?
I was talking to staff, sir. Staff is behind you. Staff is going to answer the question.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ed.
I'm sorry, Commissioner, could you repeat that
I
question?
want to know, by doing what we're doing, connecting and everything that we're doing there, is there any underground utilities or electrical that we need to be concerned with?
No, there are not.
You answered my question. Thank you.
You're quite welcome.
The only other thing is I'd like to comment on the Northeast 3rd Street. Drove by it. It's a great paving job, so, please don't mess it up when you're doing your constructions.
Repeat that?
So we just paved Northeast 3rd Street. When you're doing your construction with your heavy trucks, please don't damage the new asphalt that was just poured about a month ago.
Okay, yeah, we...
All right, so may I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion from the board? Seeing none, all those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now we move on to item 8C, proposed ordinance number 19-006.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Boynton Beach, Florida, amending the Land Development Regulations, Chapter 4, Article 5, minimum off-street parking requirements, Section 2, standards, providing for conflict severability, codification, and an effective date.
That's it. That's it.
Oh, they had more?
Oh.
Well, I guess we got to see.
There we go. Good evening, Ed Brees, Planning and Zoning Administrator. In 2017, the city put in a stopgap measure for some parking problems we were having in the city, vehicles, basically places that had a lot of vehicles, parking them on the grass and so on and so forth. So at that point in time, we implemented some parking regulations that increased the amount of parking required for properties based on the number of bedrooms. And that seemed to have a pretty good effect. At the same time, we put in a requirement that you could not pave more than 40% of your front yard, the front setback area. Those two items seem to have had a fairly good effect on the parking problems we were having. The one problem with that, it was kind of an overreaching, widespread application of that regulation, and it has had some unintended effects. And staff has reevaluated and asked that we come back and modify those regulations to better fit all the different scenarios in town so it does not have adverse impacts on future developments such as Ocean Breeze East, the Cottage District, Harbor K, and other projects that we see coming down the development pipeline. As a result, we've broken out the parking into various different categories. The top one you see there is new construction, where we're recommending that it be 2 spaces or 1 per bedroom. When there's an instance where there's more than 4 bedrooms proposed, that the additional parking spaces be shown as future parking spaces on the plan, and if they are needed in the future, they are so constructed. If not, they remain green and kind of furthers our green initiatives. For home expansions, what we're suggesting is that you only add additional parking when an additional bedroom is being added. Changes of occupancy or use, those are the ones where we were having the most problems with too many cars being parked at a particular location. We're recommending that the regulations that we put in place in 2017 continue in effect for those type of operations. And for new developments, we're suggesting, again, 2 parking spaces for a particular unit and 1 additional for each bedroom above that. But we are providing a parking study option where they can come back and show us, based on other similar projects that they've done, other projects that have been done in town, or using professional engineering studies, that they can utilize fewer parking spaces than what we are requiring in the code. The next one is multifamily, and we're asking for the multifamily that it return to the previous code requirements back in 2017, which were 1.5 parking spaces for 1-bedroom units and 2 parking spaces for 2 or more units. And again, the last thing at the bottom of the screen is to retain the pavement limitations in the front yard to no more than 40%. Again, we found that to be an effective tool. And I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you may have on that.
Okay. Commissioner McCray, would you like to begin?
Yeah, let me go ahead and be the first one. What it is in regards to this parking, I'm just saying, where people saying, well, my God, they got 8 cars at one house. Is this, you'll be able to cite them for that?
For existing properties, we would not be able to do that. For new properties, or again, properties that are coming in for a change of use or change of occupancy, such as a group home type of setting, we would be able to do something with those type of. But for the ones that exist out there, again, we do have codes on the books about parking on lawns. There are restrictions on that. So yes, they could be cited under our current regulations.
But under the new regulations, they cannot be cited?
No, under the new regulations, they would construct it to meet the new code.
I'm good.
So I guess my one question, or a couple questions, is regarding the mobility. And the sense is that any new developments that create, electric charging stations for vehicles to be shared, is that something that requires additional parking? Is there,
I'm not sure I quite follow your question.
For example, let's say someone wants to build so much density in our downtown area and cannot fit enough parking according to our code, and they say, well, we're going to allow for shared parking with certain electric vehicle charging stations. It's something very new.
Absolutely, that would be allowed. And again, as part of that, under the new developments, we're allowing them to provide us a parking study, an analysis to show that the amount of parking that we're requiring in the code is not necessarily needed based on hard engineering facts or studies on other similar type projects.
That's the hard engineering for parking and traffic, it's not very hard.
Yeah, well, there's ITE studies out there that yes, you're absolutely right. But they are based on various models and various projects throughout the area.
And now, does this, could we put in places for certain high-density developments to have electric vehicle charging stations?
That is something that we are looking at during our review of the sustainability guidelines. Again, staff is putting together some recommendations on sustainability guidelines that we propose to take for the Planning and Development Board and eventually bring to you. We've had a few meetings on it. We still have a few more to go. I'm guessing it'll probably be sometime around summer when you have something before you.
Okay. And then is there any sort of waiver ability included in the code, or is it final? And there is no ability for a certain development to ask for a waiver?
No, we're not proposing any type of waiver allowance. Again, they would need to either provide it through a study, ask for a variance, or meet the code.
Well, okay, so then explain what is the difference between new construction and new developments?
New construction is a new single-family home. I apologize. Those are my brief notes to fit it in the screen.
Yeah.
Yes, that would be for a single-family home. New developments is more for a subdivision or townhouse development or something of that nature.
Thank you very much. Yes, Commissioner McCray.
Thank you. In regards to them having to get a study, is there anything built in there for hardships saying that I cannot afford to get a study? I have only enough money to do what I'm trying to do. Are we putting anything in place?
Again, those studies are associated with multi-million-dollar projects that are coming into town. They're not for individual homes or anything of that nature.
I can do what I want to do. Okay, I'm good.
Yeah. All right. Is there any other further comments or questions from the board or the public regarding this ordinance? All right, may I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All right, may I have a roll call, please?
Yes.
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 Commissioner Katz?
Yes.
Commissioner McCray?
Yes.
Vote is 5-0.
Ordinance 19007, an ordinance of the City of Boynton Beach, Florida, amending the Land Development Regulations, Chapter 3 Zoning, Article 5 Supplemental Regulations, Section 3E, Sheds and Storage Containers, providing for conflict severability codification and an effective date.
Motion to approve.
We have a presentation?
I do have a presentation if you would like it.
Yep.
Okay. Basically, staff has been approached recently by a few different individuals that have had problems siting sheds on their property due to the fact that they're on a corner lot and have provided 2 front setbacks, which 25 foot each, reduces the amount of area in which you can place a shed. Especially if you've got a pool, if you've got a screen room, if you've got a patio, it makes it very difficult then to try and place a shed. As a result of that, staff has looked at the regulations and has tried to draft something here before you that would allow sheds in the side corner yard, which they are not currently allowed in. As long as they meet certain criteria. One, that it cannot be placed in a back or side yard, and it would need to be in the side corner yard. The shed is a maximum of 100 square feet. Right now, in town, in your side or rear yard, you can have a 100 square foot shed within 3 feet of your property line. What we're suggesting is if we allow it in the side corner, then 100 square foot would be the max, and it would need to meet a 12.5-foot setback. Again, understanding that if they're providing a 25-foot setback on this street and a 25-foot setback on this street, they should have the ability to do that. As a proviso with that, we're recommending that the shed be screened, either with a fence or with landscaping, and again, effectively screened. Obviously, an 8-foot tall structure, you're not going to put up an 8-foot tall fence or 8-foot tall hedge, but just something to soften the view from what would typically have been a front yard, front corner where you would not have had such a structure. And we're also recommending that not more than one shed be allowed in that setback. And again, we do recognize that there are several instances around town. You can imagine all the corner properties in town where there's not a lot of opportunities unless they have a very big lot to fit a shed in.
We have a motion second. Discussion from the board? Seeing none. Any discussion from the audience? Seeing none. May I have a roll call, please?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Items E and F are postponed to March 19th. Moving on to City Manager's report.
Wanted to report back to you. Wally's going to come up and let you know of what our experience was with our experimental dog days on the beach event. I think it was successful. He'll give you the details. The weather kind of helped quell, I think, the crowds a little bit, but we still had, what did you say, 50, 75 dogs, Wally?
Approximately. And again, Wally Majors, Recreation and Parks Director. As Lori indicated, all in all, the event was successful from the standpoint that anecdotally we noticed that everybody at the event seemed to have a good time. We had not even what I would call minor issues, but in summary, on Saturday the 15th is when we hosted the event at Oceanfront Park. Individuals with properly licensed dogs were allowed to come to the beach from 9 o'clock in the morning till noon. We installed fencing to keep dogs within an area which basically divided the beach in half. The southern half was remained open for regular visitors, and then the northern half of the beach was used for the dogs. It took a crew of 4 people approximately 90 minutes to set up the fencing, and again, it was beneficial to have been able to do that the day before. As Lori indicated, the weather was not the best, which I think would be indicative of the fact that on a better day we probably would have had quite a bit more dogs. In fact, towards the end of the day we did get rain, and the rain was threatening throughout the day. But despite that, we had a fairly large crowd. We used 10 staff to help monitor the activities. We had 2 points of entry into the area at which we allowed dogs, so we had staff at each of those points, and then the rest of the staff was stationed on the sand to help maintain the dogs in the area in which we wanted them to remain. I think it was a good decision to avoid turtle nesting season, which runs May 1st through October 31st. But other than that, as I indicated, we really didn't experience any major issues or any minor issues for that matter. And one of the reasons we wanted that much staff was that after the event, we literally stood arm in arm and we walked the entire area, and we found no evidence of any leftovers. Most, if not all of the people were very respectful and picked up after themselves, and we received maybe one email in the negative and several emails supporting the event itself. So with that, I'm available for any questions you may have, and continue the discussion.
Thank you. This is my first comment. You said that people picked up after themselves. They picked up after their dogs. I hopefully, not themselves. I'm sitting up not to laugh out, but that's what you said. But anyway, the guy that came down prior and made that discussion about the dogs and the urine and stuff, did this have anything to do or spill over what you all did with this dogs on the beach?
I believe it was related to that. He was there that morning. I have spoken to him before, and I believe he might have attended a meeting prior to the event, but again, I did not see any indication of any waste that was left over on the beach.
Yeah, Commissioner Katz.
Thank you. I just wanted to applaud you and your staff. I know that I was a supporter of this. I was out of state at the time this event took place, camping with my dog, so I was unable to attend, sadly, but I too received a good number of residents' input, and all in all, it seemed like you described it as a success. I think that in hashing out the details up here on this commission with a kind of diverse set of ideas regarding the event or the potential to have dog access hours on the beach, that we came up with a compromise, a one-day pilot event that people could come to. It's very contained. It could be cleaned up in a short period of time, and again, I think that it's a small amount of time. It was 3 hours approximately on one Saturday in a calendar year. People look for events like this, and there's not much opportunity because unless you go down to Boca or you go up to Jupiter, there's just not public beach access where people can bring their pets And I think that, per your description, absent maybe a few mishaps, which, we don't know if it is because of this event or because people walk their dogs on the beach in the morning before we were able to monitor it. By and large, to not receive an influx of complaints, and I think people would have complained had that scenario that was described been commonplace the next day or the next couple of days. Again, it's a testament to the work of the Parks Department to put together a coordinated event that required, a degree of containment to make sure this went off well. So I like everything I've heard. Again, I wasn't able to attend it because I was out of state, but I look forward to the opportunity if the Parks Department recommends continuing something like this to keep moving forward, to work towards some continued compromise to allow restricted beach access at certain times so that the residents, and there are many of them, can responsibly visit the beach with their pets, and it'll be clean for everyone else after the fact. So again, I applaud everything you guys have done.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I was able to make the event. I think your staff did a great job cleaning everything up. As the gentleman said, is that there are dogs there before 8 o'clock, earlier in the morning when we are not monitoring to the beach. Ocean Ridge allows dogs on the beach if it's a private beach, and so that any Ocean Ridge resident can have it. And then you also deal with the riparian rights of people. Once they have their dog on the beach, they are allowed to walk below the seaweed level because that's considered public land and is not considered our beach. I think that this was a good learning lesson regarding the points of entry. I don't think we will have another free event. I think we should be charging, people that do come and bring their dogs just like anybody else. But I think it went overall very well. I think the main thing that I thought was great was that everybody who brought their dog was conversing with other people, just like the dogs were conversing with other dogs. Whereas when you looked on the other side, everybody was pretty much to themselves and not acting as a community where the whole dog community was working together. And I think if we have some more planning involved regarding the pickup afterwards, so that it's not just the city staff that's doing this, and that we do have some volunteers, just like I think in Jupiter they have Friends of the Beach. And so I think that's something that we may want to look into in the future, to have more people involved, definitely charging people to bring their dogs, and like you said, not doing it during turtle nesting season so no sea turtles get harmed. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Our next new business is City Commission is requested to grant authorization to the legal department to initiate foreclosure proceedings to collect an unpaid accrued liens on the property located at 1102 North Federal Highway.
Motion to approve with discussion.
Thank you. All right.
Yeah.
Commissioner McCray, would you like to begin?
Yes, I'd like to ask staff or somebody to tell me how much, what is the lien amount on this property?
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioner. Mark Woods, Director of Community Standards. Approximately, it's a little over $620,000 between the two cases. And it can't give you a really definite number because it's still accruing.
Okay.
Okay, let me ask another question. You answered that one. Let me ask another question. What is the value of these properties?
I don't have the value of the individual properties. I don't have that information.
I think somebody's looking it up.
I got the property appraiser's office has it at $243,000.
Oh.
And so you're saying it is currently not in compliance?
No, it's not.
And do we know if the property taxes are paid?
The last 2 years of property taxes were purchased with certificates.
So that this may be going up to tax deed sale?
It's possible, yes.
It's silly for us to try to foreclose on it in the sense is that if we foreclose on it and we don't foreclose on it in a quick enough time, then they do the tax deed and someone else gets it, and we still have our liens, but I don't know if the question of law that we are ahead of the tax deed.
We would not be ahead of the taxes, no. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, and I know that our liens survive any sort of tax deed sale. And so that's kind of where my issue is that are we doing this, are we going to spend money to issue the foreclosure where, to issue a foreclosure is what, $1,500 just to start the proceeding. And if they do file an answer, it's going to take a long time, I believe, to get this taken care of. My main concern is that can we talk to the person that owns the tax certificate first to see if they plan on issuing the tax deed and use that as a mechanism before. I'd still like to give you authorization to move forward, but I'd like to use that option first to see if they plan on doing a tax deed sale so that we don't have to issue a foreclosure and we can save the money. Hopefully the CRA will be able to buy it at the tax deed auction.
If that's the commission's desire, yes, we can go that route.
Is the commission okay with first reaching out to the tax certificate holder to figure out if they plan on issuing the tax deed? If so, give it the other 6 months to a year, because I believe we've been waiting quite a while on these tax liens. And we're not in, it's not going to, the statute of limitations is not going to run the next 2 years?
No, the Florida statute says that after 90 days we have the ability to foreclose our liens, and it's been well over 90 days. One's a 2007 case and one's a 2015.
Okay, so the 2007 is good for another 8 years?
8, yes.
Okay. So I'd like to get a motion to approve authorization for foreclosure after reaching out to the tax certificate holder to see if a tax deed sale is considered and to move forward with that.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Second for discussion.
Yes, Commissioner McCray.
Will legal be the one that will reach out to this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I need to know who's reaching. Okay, I'm good.
All right. All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to legal. Proposed ordinance number 19-008. Jim?
An ordinance of the City of Boynton Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 26, Water, Sewer, and City Utilities, Article 8, Reclaim Water of the Code of Ordinances by creating a new section 26508D, providing for authority to sign agreements, providing for conflict severability, codification, and an effective date.
Just to point that new business item, if we want to continue this one, but that added item earlier.
My apologies. I put it under 12C, ethical, under legal. Is that okay?
That's where I had it.
I have no problem waiting. Yeah.
Okay.
Motion approved 19-008.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion from the board? Seeing none, may I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Greer?
Yes.
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 Aye.
Yes.
Proposed resolution number 19-011, authorizing the release of unity of title for Quantum Park Lot 4 and Lot 5, subject to attached conditions of approval. Applicant David Norris, Esquire of Cohen Norris, et al. Is the applicant here? Yes. I believe there's some conditions of approval. I guess, is staff going to let us know what those are and what's exactly the need for this, if the applicant would like to let us know?
Yes, the conditions of approval are approvals contingent upon recordation of the declaration of restrictive covenants, and approval is contingent upon staff approval of the applicant's parking analysis.
What are the restrictive covenants?
The restricted covenants are when the United Way, it's the United Way property, it's no longer the United Way building, but when it was constructed on the two lots as a unity. Once you try and split the lots, you have a setback issue with the building. The building's actually at a 7-foot side setback between it and the lot to the south of it. As a result, the applicant has agreed to a declaration which would require the setback on the adjacent lot, the undeveloped lot, to be at a 33-foot building setback as opposed to the 20-foot setback to make up for the difference from the United Way building site.
And so it's United Way is no longer there?
That's correct. I believe it's Beachway Therapy or something of that nature currently.
Okay, and do we know from what the applicant plans on building or doing with the...
No, the applicant is trying to position it for either themselves or a potential buyer to develop the pad that was constructed back when the United Way building was built. But it was going to be like phase 2 or 3 of the United Way site. Once United Way moved out, there was no need for them to do that. So it's basically a vacant building pad at the present time.
Okay. Yeah, I see it was bought back in December of 2015. And so we're planning on getting more property value from the...
That's correct.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, do we have a motion to approve?
Second.
All right, all those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously. So the item, discuss adoption of anti-lobbying ordinance applicable to city board members, is tabled, and in its place is questions and comments regarding ethical concerns that Commissioner Katz may have.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is something that I've had serious concerns with, and I think I use the title ethical, but I also, in my personal opinion, based on my knowledge, would also strain the direction of saying that there might have even been some corrupt activity as to what I'm going to talk about. And if you've been to these meetings before, I've talked about this almost 3 years now. Since a month after getting up here, concern was brought to my attention regarding the Quantum Park Overlay Dependent District, which is a special taxing district that exists, I believe, in Districts 1 and 2 in the city geographically. But basically, this special taxing district had a purpose to oversee development and the roadways and landscaping and waterways in the Quantum Park area.
Can you fix the laptop? Yep, thanks.
In any event, the special taxing district for a number of years was created long ago. It was ran by individuals who were elected officials in their capacity as board members. And in recent years, because of concerns raised about how they were managing that district, specifically the finances, those individuals were voted out. New individuals were voted in to run the Quantum Park Overlay Dependent District Board, and almost instantly determined that the taxpayer dollars that were being collected were being, in my opinion, misappropriated or misspent. I can attest to some of what I'm saying, or I can have someone attest to it. Colin, our assistant city manager, served on one of the most recent iterations of this board. And Colin, if you could, when you came into that position on this board, you and the new board members were able to slash the expenditures of the special taxing district by hundreds of thousands of dollars almost overnight. Is that a correct summary?
Yes, so I'm going to answer this. I'm currently serving on the Board of Supervisors representing the city, so I'm one of 5 members. And when we came on board, there was a thorough review of the expenditures, and yes, we've been able to cut almost $300,000 out of expenditures without affecting services.
Right. So thank you very much, Colin. So at least to me, it's pretty evident that the individuals who were on that board for an extended period of time, without people really scrutinizing them, misspent what would be millions of dollars in taxpayer funds over the course of a period of time. Further to my concerns, and Colin, you could answer this as well if you have the information, there was an individual employed by the Quantum Park Overlay Dependent District as an engineer who was paid approximately $100,000 a year for an extended period of time. Is that accurate, Colin?
There were several contracts with specialty firms, including an engineering firm, a legal firm, and a maintenance firm to conduct services within the park. The engineer was a board member of one of the other boards in the park. The lawyer was the legal firm was a legal firm for another member, and that's where those savings were found, was finding a better way to do that.
Thank you. So specific regarding the engineer contract, what was once approximately $100,000 a year, from what I've been told, what is the current amount being spent by the Quantum Park Overlay Dependent District on engineering services now that there is new leadership in place?
So the original contract was about $120,000 a year. Now the budget is $5,000 a year. We're spending less than that.
Right. So for a period of time, a contract was issued to an individual, in my belief, based on what I know, that had personal relationships with board members of the Quantum Park Overlay Dependent District for in excess of $100,000 annually, which is now being done for $5,000 approximately. The reason I bring all this up is because, again, I've been talking about this for almost 3 years now since I got up here, and I believe over a year ago, and I don't know if the city attorney has the date, we requested that the state IG investigate this because there were serious concerns, not just these contracts, but also the procedures on an annual basis by which these contracts were awarded. From my understanding, proper bidding procedures were not adhered to on a regular basis. So there's ethical concerns, and again, I don't shy away from the potential use of the word corruption because of the close associations of some of the individuals who were awarded the contract and individuals on the board. And there were good people on this board, in my opinion, as well, but there were people who engaged in this type of activity. To my point, we asked the state IG over a year ago to investigate this. If the city attorney could answer this question, what has been the response from the state IG in all this time since we asked at some point, I think in 2017?
Just essentially that request was on their list of requests for audits on a statewide basis.
Thank you. So that brings me to why I'm bringing this up tonight. I think if as an elected local body we find something happening that we don't have the authority to investigate, the state does through an agency, and that agency seemingly, is, to my estimation, is under-resourced or understaffed to the point that we've been waiting a year and they haven't gotten to an investigation where potentially millions of dollars of taxpayer monies were misappropriated or potentially distributed in a corrupt fashion. I think that this board needs to, and this is my request of the board tonight, and I think it's a fairly simple one, I would like to have the city attorney draft a letter to the new governor and also to every legislator in Tallahassee stating that the City Commission of Boynton Beach believes that it's unacceptable when we pass a case of what we believe to be unethical or corrupt activity to the state and watch it languish. And I know there's a million cities and a million special taxing districts in the state, I'm sure, but I feel like, that's not how it's supposed to work. So I would like us to direct the city attorney to draft language that could come back to us for approval, to send to the new governor and the legislators requesting increased appropriations for the state IG so that elected officials like us, whether it's in this case or in any other scenario where we want to investigate something that is fishy, don't wait years for an outcome. And again, the individuals that I'm referring to no longer serve on this board. Nobody knows necessarily where they are or what they're doing, so it's something that could easily fall through the cracks. And I think that when millions of dollars of taxpayer monies are misappropriated or not doled out in a proper fashion, adhering to normal guidelines, that it has to be investigated. And here we sit, it hasn't been done. So that's my request, as stated, to ask the city attorney to draft such a letter for our review to send to the governor and the legislators, because it's unacceptable. And I know if it's happening to us, I'm sure there are other cities and governing bodies that see stuff like this and wait and wait and wait. So that's my request tonight, for consensus to direct the city attorney to do just what I stated.
I agree with everything you said. Is the Office of the Inspector General under the governor or the Department of Agricultural and Consumer Services?
Well, they keep moving these departments around, but...
Because I think it's the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services.
I'd be happy to address it to the governor and the newly elected Agriculture and Consumer Services.
With authorization, I'll be able to find the right address to send it to.
Okay, I think it's, it's Commissioner Freed is the person of that, and hopefully we'll figure out who is the new department head as well, because of the change of leadership. So I guess I echo what you're saying, but let's make sure we're sending it to the right person, because if we're sending it to the wrong person, nothing will get done.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor.
Well, if I could just say, I think the direction or the request was to send the letter, address the letter to the governor and all the appropriate legislative individuals that would respond to a budgeting request, or to point out that this is an underfunded aspect or arm of government that is unable to do all the things that local government would like them to do.
And if the new agriculture head, has some authority over this this particular agency, then they can include her too. Anybody basically who should be made aware, if they're not and it's not on their radar, that this is a serious concern. We're trying to do a job here. You find something like this, and we sit. And I don't like the idea that it's just sat. I know we've been told that it was going to be in a queue, but I hoped after over a year that something would come back to us that it's
all right. Vice Mayor.
Yeah, I'm all for sending a letter and asking for appropriations to be made to the IG, but I'm more of the opinion of what else can we do, especially now having found these misappropriation of funds. Can the city attorney direct us to anything else that we can do on our part at this point in time without having to wait for the legislature, we all know how they work, to actually get something on the books and for appropriate funds, and maybe perhaps in a couple of years for the IG to finally look at Boynton Beach and look into this a group?
Well, all the city commission could do at this particular point is evaluate whether or not the creation of special districts, which are created by the city commission, are appropriate, and to build in language to those that allows you to end them in a more efficient manner at any given time. You have some power to that effect right now, but we could look into some more safeguards where the commission would remain more involved and more in control of those boards.
I would like to at least just open up those doors and see what else we can do and where we can make sure we are able to exercise our power over these units and these organizations as they take control of taxpayer dollars. I think we have a duty and an obligation to the residents of Boynton Beach to make sure that there's oversight and that their dollars are being used properly, especially if they have to live within these jurisdictions and pay these dollars.
Yes, Commissioner McCray.
Right. Whatever we need to do, probably need to do, but I don't want any language saying that, corruption charges.
Those are just my opinions based on.
Well, that's your opinion, but it's records. And I'm just saying, tone it down. I'm just saying, let's go the right way. I'm just saying, I don't want to set up anything. We can get sued. Talking about, well, y'all said we was corrupt. One person said, and we all are liable. And whatever we need to do to tone it down to make it sound like, we're intelligent people. I'm sorry. And that corruption, I don't like that word.
I purposely left names out and was nondescript about the individuals and complimented other individuals on the board who weren't corrupt. So, in my opinion, I did as best a job I could while disguising the individuals I believe engaged in corruption. But I respect your position, and I have no doubt the city attorney will massage it with legal language most appropriate for the
Agreed, and Commissioner Katz did request that it come back before the board before being issued. So I'm in agreement.
Okay. My request from the city attorney is that you said we received a letter from the Inspector General that they received the initial information a year ago.
I did confirm that they did receive it.
Do we have
I
any,
have followed up on it, and the answer has remained
Do we
the
have a
same.
written document in that sense?
I'll go back and check, and I'll see if we do have that. I think we sent it certified mail, so I know
if
they
you can
got
get us records of the board of any sort of communication from the Inspector General, I'd like to see if we can use some of our own political capital to get this case bumped up on the list. Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Do you need a motion, Jim?
No, sir.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Got it. May I have a second?
Second.
All right.
Good night, everyone.
Congratulations on the first meeting 2019.